Greetings, my dear beloved children. After we have sorted out all the intricacies of energy work, I now want to move on to a new topic that is inextricably linked with it. This time we will talk about your new social status. In fact, it carries a certain energy component. We have already talked a lot about the hierarchical structure of the three-dimensional world and the social stratification of society. All this was created over the centuries and aimed to establish on Earth such a system of government that would allow to keep people in fear and obedience. You already know perfectly well the basic principle of managing the masses of the ruling elite, divide and conquer. And now, when the Earth and the awakened part of humanity have already firmly settled in the energy space of the fourth dimension, duality begins to dissolve rapidly, giving way to a new world order in which all people will be equal. What will replace social stratification? What will be the structure of the new society? In a recent series of my messages, I have already told you in detail about this. So now I would like to dwell on its energy features. But first, let's look at the energy structure of the society of the three-dimensional world. Since it is multi-stage, each of these stages has its own energy. For clarity, imagine the pyramid of the current power on Earth in the form of a ziggurat. At its very top step there are puppeteers hidden from the eyes of mankind, who actually control your planet. It is here that all evil is concentrated. All negative energy, which comes from the lower levels of power, where it exists in a more diffuse form. So the quantity turns into quality. As for the society of the fourth dimension, and even more so the fifth, its structure can also be compared with a pyramid, with the only difference that the energies in it, on the contrary, are distributed from top to bottom. And this is how it happens. People who will take the lead about the new society, they will radiate energies of such high vibrations that, spreading through all the steps of the ziggurat, will begin to cover all large layers of the Earth's population. In other words, the quality of the divine energy of the best representatives of the Earth will gradually develop into quantity, clearing the energy space of the planet and transforming the consciousness of all its inhabitants into a new, high vibration one. Thus, if in the three-dimensional world evil was generated below and concentrated above, then in the world of high vibrations, good from people who took responsibility for building a new world will descend from above, multiplying below. Gradually, these energies will fill the entire space of the Earth, which will become energetically uniform. This process can be compared with the sunrise, when the golden disk of the best sons and daughters of mankind, rising higher and higher, illuminates the rest of the inhabitants of the Earth, dissolving with their high vibration rays the remnants of night in their souls and hearts. This is exactly what is happening now all over the Earth. Energy processes are going on from two sides is on the tops of these pyramids. And this energy tug of war is now in its final stage. Every day the light dissolves the darkness more and more, which will soon leave the Earth along with those who could not with it break down. So, let's continue talking about the social status of a person in the new world from an energetic point of view. Let's turn again to the comparison of the worlds of the third and fourth dimensions. As you know, in the three-dimensional world, people who have certain character traits or having personal connections in high circles. What are these character traits? First of all, ambition, which gives rise to a whole bunch of negative qualities, such as pride, selfishness, immorality, that is, everything that allows a person, in the name of his selfish interests, to go over the heads of other, less ambitious and practical people. And even if some then miraculously an honest and decent person who thinks about the interests of the people breaks through to the top of power, he is unlikely to be able to stay on this peak. And this is explained by the fact that he involuntarily falls into the energy orbit of the people around him. Their powerful, overwhelming negative energy and physical actions aimed at expelling a stranger who introduces an imbalance in their established habits, literally pushes this person out of their midst. The struggle for a place under the sun in the highest echelons of power is not for life, but for death. up to a complete moral fall. So the energies that reign there are literally destructive for the soul. And the higher the step of the pyramid, the more negative energy is concentrated there, because in order to climb it, people sometimes have to commit the most serious moral crimes. Based on this, the higher the social status of a person in the three-dimensional world, the lower his vibrations. In the worlds the fourth, and then the fifth dimensions, everything happens exactly the opposite. People will be controlled, or rather, their actions will be coordinated by crystal clear souls with outstanding organizational skills. The goal of their work will not be personal gain and selfish interests, but happiness and the well-being of the people who believed them and followed them. Anyone who manages to cross the line separating the worlds of the third and fourth density will no longer be able to live in low energies, but will strive to further increase their vibrations and move to the long-awaited world of the fifth dimension. Therefore, he will do everything in his power to grow spiritually himself and help others in this. And since in the fourth dimension the energy of unity and love becomes dominant, then any kind of subordination will naturally disappear from the world of people, which means that the social status as such will no longer dominate a person. He will strive not to increase his position in society, but to be useful to others, regardless of where and what he does. In the energy of unified vibrations, the head of state, teacher, architect, gardener, worker, in a word, any person, regardless of profession and place of residence, will all be in a single social status. And this state of affairs has a lot of advantages, since each person will be available to another, and the exchange of opinions will take place directly, and not through a series of intermediaries of one rank or another. This is what I had in mind when I told you about the horizontal system of government in the world of the fourth dimension, in difference from the generally accepted vertical of power in the three-dimensional world. As you can see, my dears, even here, it would seem, in such bureaucratic issues as the structure of a society, the energy level of the members of this society is decisive. It is the quality of their vibrations that determines the way people communicate with each other even at the state level. And all this will soon become your reality. We will focus on this today. The Father Absolute, who loves you immeasurably, has spoken to you.